Hello and welcome to the Bucket List Gamers podcast. I am Jay and I am joined by not only the scary ghost, as it is called on my screen, but Eddie as well.
Hello!
And as you might have noticed, we're trying to do a Halloween episode, although Halloween is about a week and a half away and we've still got quite a lot of stuff to edit. So this may be well after Halloween by the time this comes out. But if that's the case, treat it as a nice little throwback to the good old times when you were going out trick-or-treating or playing horror games or whatever else you were doing out there, and not Christmas looming right around the corner. So we sort of hit a bit of a snag, haven't we? Because we wanted to do a Halloween episode, but the book that we are working from, the 100 Games You Must Play, the best, the greatest, the most awesome, is designed for kids, which we quickly found out when we saw it had Roblox and Subway Surfers and God knows what else in it. So it doesn't have any horror games in it, really, because they don't want to scare the little kiddies, I suppose. So we've been through it cover to cover, and Roblox is the scariest game in it, but we've already covered that. So we are going to go with the only one that is even slightly... I mean, Majora's Mask we could have done, but I feel like we've talked about that loads now. So the only other one in here, I think, that's got any sort of horror-y undertones, or at least gothic undertones, is Hollow Knight. So we're going to talk about Hollow Knight, which is sort of relevant, because Silksong only came out about a month ago as well, as we record this. So we will do Hollow Knight, which is 93 in the book, and then we'll talk about other scary games that are irrelevant to the book, if we have time. We're not speedrunning this one, although we are going to try and keep it relatively short, as aforementioned Halloween creeping up on us, and I still have a load of editing to do. So would you like, Eddie... In fact, I'll read the little blurb first, before we get into fun facts and did you knows and stuff. Below the quiet town of Dirtmouth, the ruins of what was once a thriving kingdom. Playing as the knight, you'll take to the depths of Hallownest to find answers to old secrets. With interconnected worlds, enemies to battle and traps to escape, this 2D action adventure isn't for the faint-hearted. It came out in 2017, which, again, feels like a lifetime. It doesn't feel like it was that long ago it came out, but it is actually coming up on 9 years now, which is wild. Came out in 2017 for PC, Nintendo Switch, PS4, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X and S. Fun fact or did you know? And bearing in mind it's a half-page spread, so there's not going to be much content here.
I'm going to go for the did you know first.
In the sequel, Hollow Knight Silksong, you play as Hornet, a totally new hero. That's interesting, because isn't this book from like 2023?
Yeah, so we can come on to Silksong and why they know that already, but yeah, it's had a troubled development.
Right, well, let's bring it back with a bit of fun before we get into the troublesome aspects. Fun fact. Many older Nintendo Entertainment System games, such as A Link to the Past and Majora's Mask, helped inspire Hollow Knight. Is that speculation? Is that fact? Have they just gone, oh, it's a bit like this, so maybe this inspired it? I don't see much Majora's Mask in it, if I'm honest.
I can see influence from Legend of Zelda 2, The Adventures of Link, with the side-scrolly bit, the high difficulty, the challenging boss fights, that sort of thing. So I can see that. Majora, not so much, unless it's the bleak and depressing tone that the game sets, which is kind of on par.
Wouldn't you say, like, Metroid before you got to those two games?
Yeah, it's definitely a Metroidvania game. I think it's slightly more Metroid than it is Vania in influence, because the normal thing is that you unlock certain skills that allow you to backtrack through old bits of the game to get further. And that's kind of where this game sort of excels, really. I suppose the influence from Majora's Mask is the map. The fact that every time you go to a new bit of the area, you have to... But again, this is very Metroid heavy as well, in the fact that you used to have to find the map room to download the map, because otherwise all you got were the rooms that you'd explored highlighted. And then, so I suppose the Majora's Mask influence would be where you had to go to each new area and speak to Tingle to get him to fill your map in. But I don't find the map in Hollow Knight very helpful at all. I find
No.
it really obtuse trying to work out where you are, because everything looks the same. It's
Yeah.
all beetle and bug carcasses on floating platforms surrounded by spikes. So I find it really difficult.
On a scale of Majora's Mask map to Jedi Survivor map, it's definitely more Jedi Survivor end. It's
Oh
not as
yeah,
bad, is it? But I don't think any game's ever had a map as bad as that game does, because
no.
it's useless. You may as well not bother looking at it and just run around like a headless chicken until you find out what you're looking for. And I feel like it's a little bit like that in this, in that you're probably better off just running through rooms until you find out what you want than actually trying to plot it out on the map. But I've only played it for about 2 hours. I very recently started playing it, as I may have mentioned in the last episode. Started playing it because I got Game Pass back and it was on there, and I thought, oh, I'll give this a go. And I'm enjoying it so far. It's not grabbed me in completely, but I am enjoying it so far. And I didn't realise how much, again, I think I said this last episode, that the Morkel game that we covered on YouTube was influenced by this, because they
Yeah.
are pretty much the same game, aren't they? When you look at them, like I obviously, because I'd never played Hollow Knight, I didn't make that connection. And then as soon as I started playing it, I did it the other way around, and I was like, "Oh, this is like that Morkel game." And I was like, Actually, this came first, so it's the other way around."
Yeah, it's also very Souls-like, not necessarily to the same difficulty degree, and it's 2D instead of 3D, but the boss battles are incredibly challenging. It's one of those try again with the boss battles, whereas with Metroid and Castlevania, I always found that the bosses were a little bit more forgiving.
Yeah,
Once you'd got like the first walk into the room, Jesus Christ, this thing's the size of a f***ing house, and I've got this tiny little pea shooter that's an arm cannon, and you mess up your first try because you don't quite know the patterns of the boss. Whereas this, I think it just, similar to Dark Souls, kicks your ass from the get go. Even the starting enemies are quite challenging.
yeah, the 2 or 3 hits, aren't they? Which normally
Yeah.
you get ones where you just tap them and they're dead, and you sorted. So yeah, I can definitely see that. I feel like in Metroid and Castlevania and stuff, you can almost get lucky with the bosses and not spam your way through them, but you can damage sponge a bit to get a few more hits in. Whereas I feel like if you use that tactic in this, you're just going to run out of health too quickly, and you're not going to get a chance. It reminds me a little bit of. Did you ever play Rogue Legacy?
Yes.
The bosses in Rogue Legacy, like the regular enemies in Rogue Legacy, aren't too bad unless you go into an area that you're not equipped enough to go into. And then you hit the first boss, and it's like, I've just got absolutely pasted here. I can't just go in and bullet sponge and attack. I need to actually figure his pattern out and work around it and try and dodge as much as I can, because I'm just going to get wiped out otherwise. And I feel like this is that, but to a further degree. Even it's very rewarding when you beat one, but it is very frustrating. And like you say, even in the levels, the enemies that are just fluttering about in the levels and stuff, quite ruthless. In you don't have to do much wrong, and you will be dead and have to come back and try again.
Yeah, I also find it incredibly challenging because there are a lot of airborne enemies.
Yeah.
And unlike Samus, where you have your main weapon is projectile, so you're able to keep them at a distance, you're armed with the nail, as it's called,
Mm.
which looks a little bit like a drill bit. I mean, you do get spells that allow you to do long range attacks, but they're not provided to you immediately. And yeah, I think it is an incredibly challenging game. I was drawn in by the art style first and foremost. It is a very, very pretty game. And
Yeah,
then
it looks lovely.
soonly got absolutely ganked and my ass handed to me. And I went, oh, this game's got a bit of an edge to it. And then after a point, I think I'd been playing it for about 5 hours. I put it down and then came back to it, and I was like, I don't know where I was supposed to go next. And
Yeah.
I can't work out on the map where I'm supposed to go. I started looking through like YouTube walkthroughs to sort of direct me where to go next. I was like, the entire level looks the same. So I'm not sure where in this video I'm going to have to pause to go, oh, I need to go here next. And at that point, I never went back to it. I've never finished it, and I feel bad for doing it because it is really highly rated by a lot of people.
See, this is my worry because I experienced that with Metroid, and I can see the map and I can understand the map in Metroid, and I still got stuck a lot trying to figure out where I needed to go and what doors I needed to go through and that kind of thing. So with this not having as good a map, I know for a fact I'm going to play it for a few hours and know exactly what I'm doing, and exactly as you said, come back to it 2 days later and go, right, where am I? What was my next objective? Where am I meant to be going? And probably waste an hour getting back into the groove of figuring it out. And I think that is what will kill it for me, if anything. You're right, I think it looks amazing. The sound, again, fantastic sound, atmospheric music, all that kind of thing. I think they've done a great job with all that. There's certain bits of it, and I know it's been done on purpose. The jumping is a big one for me. Clearly been done on purpose and designed that way. But when you're coming from games where the way you press the jump button, it tends to be you'll do a normal jump, and if you hold it down, it goes longer, to you press the jump button, it does a stupidly small jump unless you hold it down to get a little bit of normal distance, is a real difficult thing to flip your mind around. And the amount of times I've just completely undershot a jump because I'm like, oh no, I need to hold the button down, I need to hold it down more, is a really difficult thing to get your head around, especially if you're playing other platformers at the same time and you're flicking between the two. That has been my biggest bugbear in it. And as I say, 100% I know that's on purpose. It's been done that way, but it just infuriates me. And it's like Dark Souls. I know everything in Dark Souls is on purpose, but it still doesn't mean that I have to like it.
There is a lot that works in its favour. I don't think until you get like the dash ability and you're able to, at a certain point in the game, you get like a multi-dash where you can chain dashes together in midair. Up until that point, the game feels incredibly narrow and very focused and very, you need to go down this point because literally nowhere else is accessible to you. The combat feels a bit sticky up until that point as well, because trying to run away from this dirty, great big lumbering beetle that's got a halberd that's chasing you through a room, whereas you want to be able to sort of dodge roll through it or parry or something up until you get those dodge abilities and those repeated dodge abilities. The game just doesn't click with me. But as soon as you get those, it feels more like, okay, now I've got a bit of a rhythm going. The shitty jump distance, I can sort of compensate by being able to dash as well in midair. So yeah, I can see why a lot of people get put off to start with, but then after a certain point, like Dark Souls, I can see why it's got such a rabid fan base.
What you've just mentioned there, I will give them credit for, is that the combat is great. It never feels like you've been cheated. I encountered the huge beetle thing that you just mentioned, and it's very much a get in, get a few hits, jump away as far as you can. So you miss his swing, but he might throw a shockwave down, so get ready to jump over that, jump back in, hit a few more. And I did it. I think I got hit once the whole time I did it, and I was like, actually, that feels really good to be able to do that and know that I can do it, even though it's difficult. I've proved to myself that I can, and it was a nice feeling when it died. Because at first I was like, I'm so underpowered, am I not meant to be able to get past this? Am I just going to stand here hitting it for like 2 hours and it's not going to die? And then when it did actually die, and you get quite a lot of rewards for it, and there was something worth getting past it as well, I was like, oh, actually, that wasn't bad. So I can imagine with dashes and dodge rolls and stuff, it's even better than that. I haven't got there yet. But it was, the combat felt really nice, really tight. And like you say, I can understand why it's not for everyone, but it does have that fan base that absolutely adore it, and we're waiting for Silksong with bated breath, as they were for so long. Why they've held on for so long and not dropped off and got fed up of waiting, and which I'm sure we will come to shortly. But because there's not that much to say about it, is there? It's a gorgeous looking game. It plays well, but it is difficult. It's going to frustrate you, I think, are the three main points to take away from it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a difficult one to grade for us as well, because, as you said, you got overly frustrated and stopped playing it. I've only just started playing it, and it feels like a game that I'm going to enjoy, but I'm not necessarily going to finish. So for me, I can't really give it S. even though it looks lovely and it plays well. And I'm torn between the A and the B, just because I don't have enough experience about it to know which one I'd want to put it in, which makes me feel tight for putting it in B when I know how well regarded it is.
Yeah, and I think that's part of my problem as well. As I was playing my 5 hours, I think even if I had gone back to it and gone, oh yeah, I know exactly what I'm doing now. I need to go here, 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 here. Even if I'd done that, I think I would have got so far through and gone, these bosses are just not for me. Because some of the late level bosses and even some of the primary DLC bosses look insane. As in the muscle memory you have to program over repeated cycles through the boss, it's just not for me. I tend to find that I brute force Dark Souls a lot. I brute force them, and occasionally where I've got stuck with like a Britas from Bloodborne, I've been able to call in help.
Yeah.
I've been allowed to use summons to actually help me through that bit of the game so I could finish it. You don't get that with this. There's no big brother to come and do the hard part for you.
Yeah.
You just have to, unfortunately, get good. And I don't think I ever could get good. I think I'm a little bit past that now.
From what I've played of it so far and how I persevered with Rogue Legacy, I feel like I could beat it. I don't think I could 100% it or platinum it or anything, but I feel like I can probably beat it if I get the time to do it in one go, where I'm not having to have an hour here, an hour there, and forgetting what I've learned and getting out the flow of it and stuff. So I may carry on. I'll keep people updated of my progress. And I assume in about 2 months' time I'll be like, oh, I've moved on to Silksong now to see how different it is, and I won't have ever finished it. But you never know. It might grip me in and really get me playing it, because that's what Rogue Legacy did. I downloaded that as a 10-20 minute throwaway roguelike run here and there, and then I bought the second one and I played it for about 8 hours the day it came out. I just got so into it. So you never know. Should we put it in B with the proviso that if I do end up getting quite far in it and I love it, we'll potentially bump it up in a future episode?
Yeah, I think so. I think B's fair until you are absolutely absorbed by it, and that's all we talk about for the next 6 episodes.
I'm saying this like anyone is keeping track. I mean, even we're not keeping track. I don't even write these down. So it's there on audio, but that's as much as we go with them. B for now. We might upgrade it to A. If you think we're wrong, let us know. You can comment on podcasts on Spotify and stuff now, I think. So if you want to have a rant at us, go on there. It's all interaction. It all helps us out. We don't mind. But we will move on to... We'll briefly talk about Silksong, because we can't really talk about Hollow Knight without talking about that straight afterwards, can we? I will let you take the floor on that one, because you know a lot more about it than I do.
Yeah, so initially it was announced as DLC. So it was just going to be Hollow Knight Silksong, and it was going to be an add-on pack with potentially a new protagonist, because I believe Hornet appears in the base game of Hollow Knight as a... It's sort of like a semi-antagonist. She sort of appears, has a go at you a bit, challenges you to a couple of fights, and then f***s off, and you don't see her again.
So a bit like a Knuckles in Sonic 3.
Yeah, a bit like Knuckles or Meta Knight from Kirby.
Yeah, Kirby. Yeah.
He sort of appears, you have to battle him, and then he respects your ability and pisses off, and you never see him again. You don't properly kick his ass. He just... He's there to be the wise guidance and testing whether you're ready to be the hero sort of thing.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I feel Hornet was designed as. And then they sort of wanted to make it as an expansion pack. And then in 2019, due to design creep, were the quote that the development team used, it had gone far beyond the scope of what they wanted to design for a DLC pack, and they wanted to actually put a focus on delivering a full game. They announced in 2019 that it was going to be a full game instead. So between then and the back end of last year, beginning of this year, so 2024, 2025, there wasn't a lot of information provided at all. And then in sort of 24, 25, they sort of went, yeah, it's going to be a full game and you're going to get it next year. So, yeah, a lot of people went berserk when they found out it was going to be a full game because they were excited to have more Hollow Knight and a full experience rather than just some ad hoc bolt on. But I mean, the game looks almost identical, except it does look faster. She does move a lot quicker. Her healing is better, I believe. She's a little bit more fragile, but she heals quicker, so her little notches fill back up quicker.
Yeah. It's an interesting one that it went straight onto Game Pass as well.
Yeah.
Because when you've got that amount of anticipation for a game, why give it away to everyone? I wonder if it is just because of how niche it is that they wanted to get a larger audience hooked into it. And the fact that they put Hollow Knight on there as well for free, though, makes me think, well, what have you gained from this? Other than a shed load of money from Microsoft, I assume.
Yeah.
If you put the second one on for free, but not the first one, you could say, well, oh, you might play the second one, want to see what the first one was all about, and you're luring in new customers that way. But to stick both of them on there for free, unless the plan is to only give it you for free for a few months and then, oh, it's not on Game Pass anymore, if you want to play this now or complete it, it's 20 odd quid, because they don't even do the discount now, do they? They've done away with that with all the... I mean, we could do a full episode on Game Pass and what's gone on with that in the past couple of months. But now you don't... You used to get... If it had been on Game Pass and it now isn't, you used to get like 20% off, and you don't get that anymore. It seems a very odd decision to give it away for free. Almost like they didn't think it was going to be as popular as it was.
I think that was a lot of people's opinion before it came out. It was either going to be, oh my god, this is everything we wanted and more. This is more of Hollow Knight, and they've done such a good job. They've used the first one as like a jump-off point, and they've gone in this completely radical different direction. Gameplay is so much tighter, the bosses are so much better. Or it was going to be an absolute letdown, and it just didn't hold up to the hype. Duke Nukem Forever sort of springs to mind. But instead, it did the really weird thing where something with this much hype and this much fan base just got a resounding, yeah, it's all right.
But yeah, that's Silksong. And we will move on to horror games we enjoy, I suppose. We not really planned what to talk about for Halloween because there wasn't one in the book. I haven't played any horror for a while myself. I know Aaron has. Aaron's played a lot of horror recently because I've been forcing him to play a lot of horror for October. So this seems like a great time for us to throw it over to our future selves and find out what Aaron and you and me, potentially, well, depending on who's involved, has been playing. So we'll do that now, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about some of our favourite horrors. Sounds like a plan on the fly. So over to you, future Jay, Aaron, Eddie, or a combination thereof. Hello, yes, thank you, past Jay and Eddie. So here we are again to talk about what we've been playing this week. And not joined by Aaron or Eddie this time. I am joined by, you may know him as the Master of the Sleeve from our pack opening videos. I'm joined by Jordan, who's agreed to come and chat with me a little bit about what he's been playing. So welcome, Jordan.
Hello, everybody. Well, thank you for having me.
And you've been playing on your YouTube channel, I know, a couple of horror games and a couple of current games.
Yeah.
I'll do mine first because I've not really been playing much new to discuss. I haven't played much horror this Halloween, unfortunately. I have been watching Aaron play it on stream, so in his absence I will talk a little bit about what he's been playing. But personally, the only game I've really played that's new is Deep Rock Galactic Survivor, which Aaron recommended to me a few weeks ago, I think, while we were playing on Twitch, because it is very much like Vampire Survivors, but just with a little deep space twist, and you can mine through rocks as well on it, so you can collect resources and stuff. So you're not just running away from enemies or running towards things to collect. You can actually mine through rocks, you can collect resources which you use to level up in between runs. You can collect currency to spend in between. There's like 4 or 5 drops per run, and in between each one you can buy stuff from a shop if you've got enough gold or red ore or whatever it is. And the enemies are really varied in it as well, much like Vampire Survivors, so each level presents a new type of enemy that does something different. They're all based on bugs mostly, so there's ones that can mine through rocks quicker, there's ones like a little pill bug that'll roll up and smash through things.
Mm-hmm.
But they're all really nicely differentiated when you go into a new level, and all the levels have a different gimmick as well. So there's fire on the floor, or the rocks would be like molten, so they burn you if you go near them. Some have like big springy pads built into the floor, and if you use them, you can bounce away from enemies and smash through rocks when you land. So they've done a lot to make it replayable. It is very samey in that every level is the same. You'll go in, there'll be a swarm of enemies, there'll be a reinforcement drop, but you have to clear the landing zone, and then the big bad enemy will come after you and you kill it and then escape, and you just rinse and repeat. But I feel like the environments and all the different enemies are enough to keep it fresh, and you keep unlocking new weapons and stuff. You start off and you've got like a handgun, a minigun, shotgun, which you can pick from when you level up to a certain level. Now, the point I'm at now, I've got like little drones that'll shoot fire, I've got a flamethrower, I've got a proper full-on minigun, rocket launcher, and you can pick from... It gives you like a choice of 3 when you get to certain levels to add to your arsenal. Every run feels a little bit different, and I think they've done a great job. And it is, if you like Vampire Survivors, it's a perfect sort of game if you're a bit fed up with that and you want something a tiny bit different. And it's on Game Pass as well at the minute, so you don't even have to pay for it if you've got Game Pass. Would definitely recommend that. Aaron has been playing a whole plethora of horror games on Twitch, because as much as he didn't want to, I was like, let's make October as spooky as we can. And we did get offered quite a lot of horror keys as well. It's worked out quite well. I did buy a couple because there were a few games that I really wanted to see him play. And it's definitely been a mixed bag. I mean, we played one, the name escapes me. I think it's like Next Exit Gas Station or something like that. And it was, he doesn't mind playing the anomaly games, you know, the ones where you have to spot what's different. And this is almost an anomaly game, but you're in charge of locking up a gas station at night, essentially, and every day you have a new task. So either you have to clear up all the rubbish, or you have to refill the water coolers, but every time you have to turn all the lights off, make sure there's toilet paper in the toilets, pick all the rubbish up, empty the bins. So there's like certain things you have to do, but then each time it changes it. So one, you may have to restock the shelves, you may have to get rid of some rotten fruit, but then there's weirder and weirder things happen. Like at one point there's just a woman crawling along like a telephone wire, shimmying across it like she's in Gladiators or something. You have to find a ladder to get her down, and it was really fun. And then every so often there's just a completely surreal dream level. When you finish your day, you go out the back door to leave, and your character sort of looks left and right, and if he looks right and the boss is there, this little old Chinese guy, he reprimands you for doing something wrong, and that's how you know you failed a level. So when you go out, you really don't want to see him there. But then one level, he's literally in the sky, like about 50 feet tall, like talking shit to you, basically, while you're walking around outside. And it's little bits like that go really surreal. And then the only real time it jump scared Aaron was he went out the back door and the little Chinese man wasn't there, and he thought he'd done it. And then he bombs out from behind this building instead and tells you off. And it just, that completely got him. But other than that, it wasn't too scary.
Yeah.
It's a sequel to a supermarket one. I think we might try and get the supermarket one where you're looking after a supermarket rather than a gas station. But because it's an earlier game, I don't think it's going to be quite as good.
Right, I see.
They'll have refined the formula for the second one.
Yeah.
Played that. He played one called Spider Mall, which was atrocious. I don't know if we talked about this last week. We might have done. But we got a key for it, and it was one of those where I thought, it's so bad it's going to be good. And it just wasn't. It was just bad. It was an FMV game, so you like literally you walk along and it's like, do you want to go left? Do you want to go right? And you just pick choices and it plays another video. But the acting was so bad. The spider in it was like this CGI spider that I presume they'd done it to look bad on purpose, because if they hadn't, you wouldn't release that game. It was that bad. But it was, it wasn't good. And this week we played a couple. One was where you sort of like an Amazon warehouse attendant, but you're in the whole warehouse on your own. You have to go out and pick products, but there's like a monster stalking around the warehouse after you. And that wasn't bad, but there was only one monster, and once you figured out how it operated, there wasn't an awful lot. Do you know what I mean? Once you figured out, I need to hide under the racking and he'll only come after me if I'm within this radius and stuff.
Yeah.
Sort of lost its sheen a bit. It could have probably done with a few more different monsters, and you never know what's coming. And then we played one called Devour, which we were kindly given a key for, and it was such a 50-50 of a game because atmosphere-wise, it was amazing. Like the levels were so atmospheric. They were terrifying. You didn't know what was coming next. But the gameplay itself, it's designed for up to 4 people to play it co-op. But it does say you can play it on your own. And I don't think it's best played on your own because essentially you just have to do the same thing 10 times.
Right.
But they're really convoluted. So, like, the first level Aaron played was in an asylum. The story behind it, and again, the story and the world building was great. This woman had been locked in the asylum and she'd been, like, caught mutilating rats. And so they gave her electroshock therapy. And I think it killed her. So you find her in the basement on the, like, electroshock table and you put a fuse in and turn it on and it brings her back to life. And then she starts haunting around the level. And to get rid of her, you have to bring 10 rats down there and 10 fuses and, like, essentially blow up 10 rats with this electric chair thing. But you can't carry more than one item at once. You have to go and find some food, lure a rat, catch the rat, bring it down there, go away, find a fuse, come back, put that in, and you've got to do that 10 times, and it's quite a big area. Yeah. And then she's obviously wandering around. There's some other, like, minions that can come after you. And at the most part, she's peaceful, but then if you electrify a rat, she goes psycho, and the only way to stop her is to shine this, like, UV light on her. But there aren't many batteries for the UV light, and then sometimes it just doesn't work. It was just a bit of a chore once you figured out what to do.
Yeah.
Having to do it 10 times, even if it was 5 times, I think it would have been fine. And I think if there was 4 of you doing it, you'd whip through that 10 times really quickly.
Yeah.
But because Aaron was doing it on his own, it just got boring quite quickly. And
I can imagine.
All the other scenarios, because there was like 10 different level maps you could pick, but they were all the same thing with a different skin. The latest one's called the Carnival, and the same thing. A clown's hunt, like, stalking you, and you have to kill 10 of these little clowns and put their heads in a fortune teller machine. But it's the same thing. You have to get a coin for the fortune teller machine. You have to find a music box, blow one of them up, get the head, put it in, and do it 10 times. They could do with varying it a bit. They got the atmosphere, they got the creepy graphics and everything down to a T.
Yeah.
But just the actual gameplay, and maybe if there's 4 of you doing it, it's way more fun. But it just didn't seem to have enough about it. And then this week, tomorrow, in fact, as we are recording this, for Halloween night, the big Halloween stream, he's playing one called Dollmare, which I don't know if you've seen this.
I had a quick look, yeah.
It looks great.
It does, yeah.
It's just a production line of dolls, and you have to basically put rejects down a chute, but they get creepier and creepier as it goes on. And I just know he's not going to enjoy that, but it looks like it's going to be fun. And then to round off Halloween, I've said we'll do No Horror November, just as a little reward for him for doing them all this month. But we've been given a couple of horror co-op games that we sort of need to play, so we might have to do a couple. But he's finishing off with Poppy's Playtime because which was his idea, and I've told him he's not going to like it and he's going to hate it because I've seen a playthrough of it and I know what's coming, and he's going to hate every minute of it. But he was adamant he wanted to play it, so we got it in and he's going to play that. It was almost inevitable that he'd play it at some point, so we may as well do it for Halloween. And also he's going to dress up as something, which he won't tell me what it is because we did a community vote, and if people put enough tokens forward, he'd dress up for Halloween stream. So he's got a costume, but I don't know what it is yet.
Nice.
So that should be fun. But that'll have already happened by the time you hear this. Let's see what Jordan's been playing. Do you want to do the non-horror first? Because I know you've been playing a certain game a lot the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, so obviously the big one in October was Pokémon ZA came out. I think it was one of the most controversial Pokemon games that's come out recently because it seems to have split opinion so much. They released the first video of like the gameplay and everybody was just like recorded on the Wii. Is it like, you know, graphically it didn't look great, and I think a lot of people were concerned that it was going to make the game bad and people weren't going to enjoy it. But thankfully, I mean, all I can say is good things about playing the game. I've logged at least 100 hours in over the last 2 weeks because it's just, once you start playing, it's so hard to put down.
Me and Eddie discussed it briefly last week, I think it was, or maybe the week before. Or it might have been in this episode. We might not have discussed it yet. It might be coming up after this. And we said, who plays a Pokemon game for the graphics? Because they've never been...
Yeah.
Even the originals didn't push the boundaries with graphics, did they? They're cute sprites. No. That's what makes a Pokemon game. is nice Pokemon sprites.
And then you've gone from like top-down stuff where, you know, how graphically good can you get? Not very. And then they've sort of started pushing it recently with the open world. People still debate now whether that was the right move or not, but I think the battle system feels fresh and really good. So I hope now, because they're releasing a game called Pokemon Champions, which is going to be free. That's where all the sort of competitive battling is going to be on. So I'm hoping in future games they just use this new system, and I think once people get on board and accept that that's what it's going to be, like the real-time battles, it feels more like the anime, and I think that's something a lot of people have asked for, is they want it to feel like they're watching the anime when they're battling, and they've definitely achieved that. As I think it does need, don't get me wrong, it needs improving. It's not perfect. Like you'll input a move and it'll take far too long, and you have to press it again and again, and sometimes you feel like you're spamming buttons, but a lot of the time it works fine.
This is it for me. This is the bit, because I've got the game. I literally installed it today and just made sure it all worked.
Yeah.
And I plan on playing it this weekend if I can get some time. And it's the battles that I'm worried about, because I love the turn-based 4 moves versus 4 moves thing. That is Pokemon for me.
Yeah.
And from watching you play it on YouTube, especially the mega battles, it just looked like chaos. Like you say, like you were just spamming moves and hoping you won, rather than there being any sort of tactics to it. And I'm hoping I enjoy it. I would have liked them to do and I know it would have been loads of work, but I'd have liked a toggle in there that's like old style battle, new style battle, and give you the choice of which route you want to go, because they've sort of snuck in more mechanics and stuff, haven't they? Over like with Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, they snuck in the Pokeball throw-in thing from Pokemon Go and stuff, and I think that suffered because of that. I preferred the old click a button and it shakes 3 times, rather than having to do the throw and get extra spin on it and all that.
Yeah, and you didn't really battle, did you, in Let's Go? You were kind of just throwing Pokeballs, and I feel like that was the big loss of Let's Go, is I know you battled trainers, but you never really battled wild Pokemon, and I think that's something you've always done.
And like there's an art, isn't there, to weakening them without killing them to catch them, and you lost all that. Yeah, I am keen to try ZA and see how I get on with it. I think from everything I've seen, I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
The battles might be the bit I enjoyed the least.
Yeah.
But there's so much more to the game outside of that I think I'll be fine. I'd love them to do another top-down one, just to take it old school and not just be a remaster or a remake. Do a proper old school Pokemon game to sit alongside the new ones. Curious about this one that's going to be like Animal Crossing as well.
I'm excited for Pokopia. I think it looks good. It's something completely different, and normally that means it's pretty good. Pokemon tend to, when they do like the Mystery Dungeon games, if you've ever played those, they're really good. They were like something completely different. So I've got my fingers crossed, but
Pokemon Ranger was a misstep. I think I remember having Pokemon Ranger,
true.
and that one was a bit crap. But yeah, on the whole, if they do a little spin-off, it's usually not too bad. We talked last week about Pokken Tournament.
Oh yeah.
And we didn't say that many nice things, but it was good. It was competent. I think our main criticisms were that the roster was too small to say how many Pokemon you got to choose from to do like 12. Was just, it felt a little bit phoned in when they could have done something bigger, but I think they're on the right track. I think ZA is a good start.
Yeah.
It looks fun. I will pass my own judgment once I've played it, but from everything I've seen you play, and the fact you've put that many hours into it, it must be a decent game. And graphics-wise, I don't think it looks horrible.
No,
but
it's just...
If you're not playing a Pokemon game because the buildings are pre-rendered, then you've got your priorities in the wrong place.
I saw somebody online went into a big rant that they've put balconies in, but they're like flat on the side of a building, and it's like you've got to traverse these buildings, so you've got to kind of make it make sense where you've got to go to the roof, but then avoid every balcony on the way up and stuff. I just think a big part of it as well is obviously it's still available for Switch 1. I think that's
hampered it.
That's the big thing. They've had to sort of do the best with what they can. Well, I think the next one is going to be Switch 2 exclusive. It's got to be, really, for them to take that next step.
They've built it as a Switch 1 game and then polished it for the Switch 2, essentially, haven't they? Which is, it hampers it. The same thing happened with Xbox when you get that transition period. all the games that come out that are for the new Xbox, but the old one as well, you're always hampered with it unless they develop them completely as two separate games, which they never do.
No.
You're always going to get that. I think for what it is, it's not a bad game. They can build on what they've done here, definitely, and make. I don't know whether they'll diverge and do a regular and a Legends type game like they have previously, or whether they're just going to go down this route now. But I think it's a great starting point either way.
Yeah, like Legends Arceus was also really good, but feels very different. This one, because it's modern day, I think it helps. It doesn't have the traditional. You wake up, you're with your mum at your mum's house. You go to the professor, get your Pokemon and stuff. It's like you turn up on a train to this new city, and it feels very much more grown up.
Yeah.
I know your character doesn't look like they're that old still, but it does feel like you're that much older because you kind of don't feel like a kid because even the very start of the game, you're on your own.
Yeah, you're not going through that growth journey that every other Pokemon game is, pretty much.
Yeah, there's never any there's no real pandering to any adults or no one really tries to make you feel like a child.
Yeah,
it's all very much you treated like a grown up, and I kind of enjoyed that, to be honest. I think that's one of my criticisms of Pokemon games is sometimes you lose that connection because it's like, well, this 10-year-old kid playing through, like, it's just
yeah. Back when like Red and Blue came out, you could relate to it, couldn't you? But now the audience has grown up with it, but you're still doing the whole you're a kid thing. Maybe that was in their thoughts when they decided to do this, because like you say, you still look very young.
Yeah,
but people don't react to you like you're a newbie to this whole thing like you are in the other games. It's definitely a step in the right direction. Well, not necessarily a step in the right direction, but a good jumping off point for anything they decide to do in the future.
As long as they commit to it, I think they'll definitely fix the flaws and hopefully use this game as a base for the future. And I think it's going to be in a good stead.
So moving on to horror.
Yes.
I mean, it's not the game that you've been playing is not out and out jump scare horror, is it? But it's definitely got creepy undertones to it.
It's very much you're on edge quite a lot of the time because you don't know what's coming next. It's called the Seance of Blake Manor, and it's from the same publisher as Blueprint.
I was going to say it looks very Blueprint in the art style and stuff. That makes sense.
It's probably my favourite game that came out this year so far that I've played. I spent loads of time just... Even when you sort of think you've done, something else happens and it just brings you back in and you're playing for another 5 days. It's crazy, really. And so I had it wishlisted from when I played the Blueprint because obviously I saw it was the same publisher. And I kind of just lost track of it, and then it released on the 27th. So I thought, oh, well, seeing as though it's Halloween, I'll play a bit of a spookier game. And you're basically a detective in Ireland who... There's a seance happening at this famous manor house, and a woman goes missing. So you're then brought in to kind of figure out what's going on, but nobody else there knows you're a detective, so you're trying not to give it away at the same time as figuring out what's happened. And like Blueprints, you had a set amount of...
Steps, wasn't it?
Steps, wasn't it? Yeah. Whereas this game, you have a set amount of time, so everything you investigate, it tends to cost you a minute, but you can go to these events, like if there's a book reading, and it'll cost you maybe 30 minutes, and you get so many hours to figure out kind of what's going on. I've really enjoyed playing it. Like I said, the art style is very similar to Blueprint.
I saw you looking at a room with a dartboard, and I was like, that looks exactly the same as the room in Blueprint.
Yeah, it's really good. I really like the art style of Blueprint because it's effective but also simple.
One of the things I noticed as well was the voiceover is really good in it. You obviously didn't really get that in Blueprints, did you? There's very minimal voice work in Blueprints, whereas this is all talking. And it all feels really natural as well. Like none of it felt stunted or acted. It all just feels like conversational.
There's a few bits where, because you can pretty much, as you find things out, you can discuss it with everybody at the manor. So you could essentially have the same, not the same conversation, but the same topic of conversation with 30 people, but it's different every time.
Yeah.
So sometimes the little bits of dialogue aren't voiced, but the major bits, I'd say like 75-80% voice acted, and voice acted well. You don't feel like it's, just like an exchange. It definitely just feels like more of a conversation.
Yeah. It's not all chatting either, is it? There's a lot of puzzles in there. So I
Yeah,
watched you do quite a few puzzles, and I remember you saying on stream that like they're really well balanced. They make you think, but none of them are too ridiculous or too out
yeah,
there in the solution that you're never going to get it.
yeah. I love puzzle games, obviously, with like blueprints and stuff. And there's one, and I can't remember the name, but you end up stranded on an island, and you've got to figure something out. But it doesn't point you anywhere. It took me nearly like 2 hours to figure out what I was supposed to do, and that was like a very small segment of the game. So I think, yeah, the puzzles are like you're not going to be sat for hours. You may be like 20 minutes at the most.
Yeah. It makes it clear what you've got to do, but then
Yeah.
how you
Hmm.
actually do it is the bit that takes some working out.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think the one I saw you doing the other night was the one where you had to go around that grid of lines, but you couldn't
Yeah,
cross
yeah.
over a line that you'd already done. And you must have tried it like 20 times, and then all of a sudden it just clicked, and you knew, and it just worked, didn't it? And it's
Yeah, yeah.
a bit of trial and error, but also if you really sat and looked at it, you could go, well, the only possible way I can do all this without crossing over is to start here and
Yeah.
end here, and yeah, it's clever stuff like that I like in puzzle games. Aaron played one called Homebody, which was made by the Game
Oh,
Grumps, and that was full of those kind of little like
right.
one of them that drove him mad, but it was very clever at the same time. It was like the lights out thing, where you click this one, it turns on all the lights
Oh,
around
yeah.
it. And he had one of those to do, and that took him. And he did it purely by luck in the end. He was just clicking things, and it just worked. But it's stuff like that that I like, where you could really put some effort in to solve it, or you could just potentially get completely lucky and just do it
Yeah.
without even
Yeah, yeah.
realizing. And I feel like there's a lot of that in this one as well. You can really think about it and solve it,
Yeah.
or actually, if you just keep clicking around, you might just get lucky and figure it out.
Yeah, because there was one puzzle where we'd got into this woman's room. She wasn't in it, obviously. And we found a box, and it obviously had stuff in it. And it was one of those you can't cross the lines, but you have to make a
Hmm.
certain pattern. And I was there for like 20 minutes trying to figure out like what pattern. And then it turns out like literally the cutscene after we'd spoken to her after that, she gave us the
The
shape
pattern
we
for
were supposed to
it.
make. So it's kind of stuff like that that's you can brute force it, but if I'd have just took the time to speak to her before I went, I would have
Yeah,
actually already had the thing I needed, and it would have taken 2 minutes, not 20. But no, the puzzles, they're really fun. It's really, it feels like there's when you solve things, you can go to, so if you profile a person, for example, it then takes you to a screen and it pieces all the pieces together on this like big map, so you can keep track of things easy. You're not sort of having to like remember everything. You can sort of, oh, I've already spoke to this person 4 times. Let's see what I know about them,
yeah,
and then
yeah. It gives you a
eventually
little
you can
profile.
make, yeah, yeah, you can make like a hypothesis about what they're doing there and what their intentions are and stuff. Yeah, it's really good. I can't recommend it enough.
It reminds me a bit of an old game, a much better version of. But there was a game when I was growing up called The Seventh Guest. I don't know if you've ever seen this, and it's
I
like
haven't.
it's an old school, almost a point and click, but
Yeah.
it's full of FMVs and stuff. So it's
All
about
right.
this like again, it's like a an old manor house where all these people are gathered together for a particular. It's like I think it's a will
Mm-hmm.
reading or something like that.
All
But
right.
the whole place is haunted by I think by those guests. So I think they all turn out to be ghosts, but they all have like these really weird cutscenes, and then they make you do a puzzle after each one. And there's a lot
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
chess piece puzzles, and
Right.
move all the chess pieces around the board so that
Oh yeah. Yeah.
you've switched the sides, but they can't cross over each other and stuff like that. And find the route from the start to the finish by going and. But cleverer than that, obviously. But this feels very much like a much more modern, more well polished version of that. And
Yeah.
I am really curious, and especially now I know it's by the people who did Blueprints.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
curious to give it a go, actually. So I might have a look at that and see if I can pick a copy up and try it.
As you're playing, the music and stuff really immerses you in it. It's not too much, but it's
Yeah,
not nothing at the same time. Like you could just be walking around the gardens, but because it's sort of dark and windy, and there's sort of like a faint, ominous music playing. You know something's kind of not right, and it kind of puts you on edge. So then when something does happen, it's a bit more effective, and you kind of in the moment and stuff. So it's really good at setting the tone of places.
I feel like this would be a perfect one for Aaron to play for our charity month next month. So we might get it for him and play it over on Twitch.
Yeah,
So
I'd love to see him play it, definitely.
if you're listening to this, have a look at our Twitch schedule. It might have already popped up on there. We've got loads of stuff, so good time to plug our charity efforts next month, which you are also participating in, aren't you? So
I am.
We're raising money for MND, motor neuron disease research, and their challenge is to play, I think it's 80 hours of gaming in November. But obviously, because there's more of us and we wanted a bit more of a challenge, we're going to try and do 150 hours between us over the month of November.
Jay in the editing room here. We've actually upped that challenge to 400 hours now, and we're currently at around 100 hours played.
I think a lot of them are probably going to end up being on stream between you and Aaron, and I'm going to be chipping in on stream as well, but also Eddie and Jack are going to be playing as well. We're going to document it all. So we'll be taking donations for that. If you look on our socials, you'll see the links. We'll be posting about it quite a lot over the next month. There's even a leaderboard, and the top 25 people in the leaderboard get like a trophy and stuff. And I mean, I can't imagine, there's already people on there that have raised over $1,000, so I can't imagine we're going to get top 25. But if you want to go and help us push towards that, you can do. And if not, even if we don't get top 25, anything we've raised, it's for such a good cause that we want to do our bit. So yeah, check us out in the next month across all of our platforms. Jordan on YouTube, us on Twitch. We'll be posting it on Facebook, Instagram, etc., etc. Join us for that. If you can contribute, that'd be really amazing. If not, just support us, join us and watch. That would be great as well. We've got all sorts for Aaron to play on Twitch as well. We've got one called Humans, which is like a really quirky, don't even know how to describe it, but it looks so fun. We got invited to play the demo and we didn't get a chance to play it, and I thought we'd missed our chance, but then we've got a key to play it now. We've got that. We've got me and Aaron will be doing a couple of co-op games. One I think I previously mentioned will be a horror. He's going to do some Smite streams. As much as I tried to stop him, he's adamant that he wants to play Smite. So we'll be doing some. I think he said he's going to do some ranked matches where he'll just get a load of abuse because he's not really played it competitively for so long. So that should be entertaining, if nothing else. I think he's going to play some Zoo Tycoon. He was talking about playing some of that as like some like late night relaxed streams. So there's all sorts going on over there. I know you'll be on YouTube with probably some Stardew, I expect. Maybe some more Pokémon ZA.
Yeah, I'm kind of in a place where I need to figure out what I'm going to be playing next. But we're playing a game for Halloween called The Drifter, which is, it looks like it's like a really old school vibe game that looks interesting. So I'm looking forward to that.
We'll use this opportunity as well to give your channel a little push to our listeners, because they might not be aware that you also stream. Oh yeah, I have seen The Drifter actually. It looks really cool. The artwork of it is really sick, isn't it? Yeah, that does look good.
Yeah, very much my kind of vibe.
He's very sort of like Monkey Island, Day of the Tentacle, Leisure Suit Larry type graphics, but with the horror twist by the look of it. So yeah, that should be a good one. So yeah, do you want to tell us a bit about your YouTube channel and where people can find you if they want to join you?
I mean, with the exception of Pokemon, 99% of the time I stream on a Monday, Tuesday and Thursday night for UK people. Normally from around 7 PM onwards at Jordan's Den on YouTube.
We'll put a link in the description of the episode as well, so people can go and find you and follow you.
It's very much not I won't say family friendly, but it's kind of relaxed, cozy, that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
A lot of Animal Crossing, Stardew Valley, Moonstone Island is one I picked up. Well, I got gifted it by one of my subscribers, and I've been loving that. That's like a Pokemon-esque.
We tried to play it on Twitch and it was not work. I don't know if Alruna got an earlier build of it or what, but the controls wouldn't work properly when we tried to play it. And I think they've probably fixed it by now because it's on PlayStation and all sorts now as well, isn't it? It's across everything. So yeah, it looked really good. We tried for about 20 minutes and it just wouldn't quite work properly, so we had to sack it off. But yeah, maybe one to revisit or just go and watch Jordan play it because he obviously knows what he's doing with that one.
We're kind of taking a break and just playing these like the spooky games this week, and obviously Pokemon all last week. So we'll be getting more into Stardew again and Moonstone Island and stuff. It's those kind of games, that kind of vibe. But I'm always open to playing other things. Any suggestions and stuff is always welcome.
Through November, we'll share your links and when you're going live on our socials anyway, as part of the Game Over MND thing. So keep an eye out for those as well. But yeah, I think we better wrap it up because this has gone on nearly as long as the episode has now. But I've enjoyed it. It's been fun to chat to someone different about what they've been playing and it'd be something I wasn't fully aware of because normally I know what Aaron's been playing. So when I talk to him, I know what he's going to say. So it's been nice to discuss something other than that. But yeah, thanks for joining us. I'm sure we'll have you back on the podcast soon.
Definitely, yeah.
We'll have to do some sort of collaboration between the two for streaming as well if we can get something like that set up. That'd be amazing. Good. Until the next time, Jordan, thank you for joining us. And I will now pass back to Jay and Eddie to wrap up talking about... I can't remember. Every time we come to do these, because there's a gap between us recording the episode and these, I always forget what game we've been talking about. It's a surprise to me. I'm sure listeners, you will know what we've been talking about because you got this far in. Oh no, I do know. We were talking about Hollow Knight because it's the only one in the book that's even slightly spooky because it's like a kid-friendly book we're doing at the minute. So that was the only one. So we've been talking about that and Silksong. So I will pass you back. We're now going to talk about, I think, Pokemon, actually. So we might retread some ground we've just covered. But I'm sure you'll enjoy it anyway. So back to past Jay and Eddie. And yeah, thank you, Jordan. Until the next time. Goodbye. Yes, welcome back. Thank you, future me. I assume it was me, it usually is, that throws this back to us. So yeah, as you can probably have heard, I've been forcing Aaron to play all sorts of horrible horror games. I haven't played many myself, though, recently. I've played Phasmo with Aaron, which I'm sure we will have talked about, which is a fantastic game. I don't need to tell you how much I love that game. It's just so well done for so little money in the grand scheme of things, and you can get so much out of it. We still do need to have a game of it all together, I think, at some point. So look out for that one. But yeah, other than that, I haven't played much, really. I know there's a new Resident Evil in the pipeline, isn't there? I think it's like February of next year it's going to come out. But I'm curious to see whether... I haven't looked into it yet, whether is it following on from, like, The Village and stuff, or is it going to be completely its own thing?
It still ties back into the overall Resident Evil lore by the look of things. I don't think Ethan Winters from Resi 7 and Village is going to be in this, most notably because, spoiler alert...
Audio redacted.
Eddie, I'm going to have to cut that out.
So he probably won't be appearing in this one. They did do a DLC sequel that involved his daughter, but it's not her. That's the main protagonist, which I thought they were going to go down that route, and she sort of looks a bit like her, but it isn't. But it is all going back to the very, very nuked Raccoon City.
Oh, okay. Well, that's piqued my interest then. Because that's why I didn't do Village, because I didn't finish 7. So I was like, this is a continuation of. I need to finish 7 first. And me and Jack, who joins in on some of the videos and stuff, and Jordan... We started 7 on Halloween it was pre-COVID. And we got up to the bit where the crazy woman's chasing you and you have a flamethrower. And we didn't know what we were doing, so we just threw all the flamethrower ammo shooting her, which doesn't help, and couldn't find any more. And you need it to go into like boxes that are overtaken by bugs, don't you? And I was like, well, have we just soft-locked the whole game? And then we stopped playing. So I don't know if you can find... I assume they've built in a contingency for idiots like me that spray through all the fuel. You can go and find some, but there was a bit where we were under the floorboards and she just came after us, and that was enough for me. I was like, I'm done now. Let's get something to eat and watch a film or something, and we'll come back to it. And we literally never have. So I would like to finish that before playing Village. But if the next one doesn't really link back to those too much, and it's in Raccoon City, maybe we'll have to get Is it called 9, or have they called it something? Has it just got a completely new name now?
I think it is just Resident Evil 9.
It's not. Is it Silent Hill that's going to be called Requiem? I know there's Requiem's been banded about, hasn't it, for something?
Yeah. Oh no, it is Resident Evil Requiem.
There we go.
Is 9. The monster in it looks horrifying and plays a bit like a Mr. X sort of character, so actively pursues you through whatever building it is you're in.
Oh God!
Well,
I've just
there
got a
we go.
picture. That is horrible. That might be
Yeah.
one of the worst things I've ever seen.
And it's a bit alien isolation in the fact that you don't ever want to walk under a drop ceiling. So it's obviously a lot of buildings in the Resident Evil are borderline derelict with holes in the roof and stuff like that. And this thing literally claws her way through those ceilings and gives chase. And it's not scripted as far as I can tell. So, like, Nemesis in the remake of Resident Evil 3 was very... He only appears at certain points in the plot to give you a bit of a scare and chase you down and molest you with the tentacle in his arm, sort of thing. Whereas Mr. X was there permanently after a certain point of the game, but was really annoying with it.
Yeah, this is what I was just going to say. I absolutely hated what they did with him in the Resi 2 remake, because you're not even scared of running into him. He's just an inconvenience because you can't do the stuff you need to do because he's there and he's thick, so he just stomps around the same room over and over again when you need to do something in that room. And it's like, look, you don't know I'm here, so just off somewhere else, will you, until I make a noise. And then, yeah, fair game, come back and get me. But I'm literally stood behind a bookcase watching you walk in circles. Go away. You're ruining the whole game for me. And I worry that she's going to be like that then, if she's not scripted. And hopefully in the years in between, they've come up with a way to make it cleverer. But that is just... It's almost comical in its appearance. Like, it's borderline between absolutely horrifying and comical. Like, something you'd see in a real budget horror game, where they've just gone, oh, just make it like the most bizarre thing you've ever seen, and that'll work.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's scary, but it also a little bit like funny at the same time. I'm sure when it's chasing me in the game, I won't think that.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. So it's been... There've been quite a few gameplay trailers and excerpts from actual live gameplay, and it does look like it's similar in terms of she can't follow you into safe rooms. And the AI for the enemy, because I don't think she's been named yet, and it is very clearly a she, it's a lot better, and it will stalk you. And it's not like the Alien thing where you just knew it was a matter of time before the fucking thing dropped through the roof on you.
Yeah.
Or Mr. X was pretty much guaranteed the room you needed to go in to get a key or to solve a puzzle to get a key, he was going to be there. And it looks as though it'll be drawn by noise. So if you do fire your weapon at... I don't even know if there's zombies in this anymore, or whether they're infected or what. Again, it will draw that monster to where you are. There have been bits in the trailers that show Raccoon City Police Department, or what's left of it. So I think it is very much focusing on its history and trying to loop back in with the Umbrella plot, such as it is.
Have we ever had... Whatever happened to Lisa Trevor? Did she ever die?
Nope.
Because we never saw her face, did we?
No.
So there's every chance this could be Lisa Trevor grown up a little bit. That's the vibe I'm getting off it immediately, looking at it, is like, that could be Lisa Trevor without the sack on her head.
Yeah, because ultimately she would just continually mutate. Constantly. I mean, the city got nuked at the end of Resi 3, but how close the mansion was... And obviously she was underground at that point, because the last time you fight her is in the crypt.
So she could have ambled her way down into the town quite easily, I suppose, and just be lurking there now.
Yeah.
I'm calling it now, and if it ends up being Lisa Trevor, then you heard it here first. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Maybe we should play that together when it comes out, like we did with Resi 4 Remake, and record it, don't record it, give our thoughts, something like that. But I'm looking forward to that because it's been a while since I've played a Resi game that's new. I think 7 would have been it because I've not gone back to any of the old ones that I missed. And then, yeah, we're getting a new Silent Hill as well. So it's like being back in the late 90s all over again, just with much, much better graphics. We're running out of time. There was something else I was going to mention that was non-horror related, and it's completely... Oh, obviously, it's come flooding back to me. Pokémon ZA came out 3 or 4 days ago now. I do have a copy of it, but as of yet it is still wrapped in the cellophane. I've not had a chance to unwrap it and install it or play it or anything. Have you given it a go yet?
Yeah.
Oh, are you on the negative side of the fence? Because I know there's been a lot said about this, and most of the negative stuff I've seen has been that it looks shit. But for me, I don't play a Pokemon game to look at the buildings that I walk around.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the reaction I've seen, it's like, oh, it looks like something on PS1 with the cardboard cutout buildings. Yeah, there is a bit of that, but again, I don't come to Pokemon for blow me away graphics.
Yeah.
I just find the gameplay a little bit underwhelming.
Is it like Arceus was?
No. So I really liked the Arceus combat and the sort of sneaking around in the long grass, trying to catch Pokemon unawares sort of thing. So using your environment to your advantage and sneaking up and trying to catch a specific Pokemon. This isn't obviously set in ye olden days where Pokemon were just sort of these wild creatures that nobody went near because they were scared shitless of them, and you were sort of like at the forefront, a pioneer of the Pokemon research sort of thing. And the thing you had was the first version of the Pokédex, so you were having to research them. This is set 5 years after Black and White, so it is somewhere within the Pokemon timeline sort of thing, but the Pokédex is already known about, Pokemon are already really known about, so you're not researching them, you capture one Pokemon of that type, and that's it. You don't need to research it, you just know everything about it, and then you just level it up like you normally would. The battle system isn't turn-based.
Oh, is this where you just run around spamming attacks?
You just run around spamming attacks. There's no tactics to it, really. So with the 4 moves in turn-based strategy, you would need to work out whether to use Swords Dance or something like that and go for a really powered up attack, and you'd just keep Swords Dance active as a buff, and then you'd be able to just sort of like one shot everything. This, you use Swords Dance and it powers your Pokemon up a bit for a really short period of time, so you get one other attack off, and then your attack drops back down to normal again. And your speed has a really, really high impact on how fast your moves recharge. So you use Quick Attack, for example, so you use it and it fills up relatively quickly. If you have high speed, Quick Attack fills up even quicker, and you can literally just spam. If you've got a high attack, high speed monster, you can just spam Quick Attack on non-rock types and they just fall over. Whereas your more powerful moves, like Outrage for a dragon, for example, take a while to fill back up, so there's no reason to use like status moves.
Yeah,
because paralysis just slows your Pokemon down. It doesn't stop it from moving.
Stop it attacking, yeah.
So sleep slows your Pokemon down. It doesn't put them to sleep, so that the only status effect that makes it so that they can't attack is freeze. And obviously it's a really difficult to pull off status. It's like 30% of the time that you use an ice move, it'll freeze an enemy. So yeah, I'm disappointed by what it could have been versus what they've delivered.
This is what worries me, because I like the turn-based pick one of 4 moves part of Pokemon. I know lots of people are like, oh, it's boring, it takes too long, blah, blah, but I like that. That is what Pokemon is to me. That's the point of it. What was it like in Arceus? Did you still have the turn-based stuff in
It was still turn-based.
So, because that's how little I got into the game. I'd never picked it back up again, and I really need to. But then stupid me went and bought this because I was like, oh, it's modern times rather than ye olde worldy. Maybe I'll get into it quicker. But then I watched Jordan playing it, and I was like, the battles, I've only ever seen him do a Mega Evo battle, but it just looked chaos, and I was like, oh, there looks like there's no skill to this other than zigzagging about and hitting a button to attack every so often. This doesn't seem like I'm going to enjoy this. But all the other bits of it, walking around the world doing side quests and catching Pokemon and stuff, looks really fun.
Yeah, I think if you're coming into Pokemon from new, so you've played Pokemon Go and you want to try this new console version, give it a go. Because the battling in Pokemon Go is a bit similar in that you tap the screen, you charge up the move, you fire a move off, and then you can keep spamming the attack if you've like filled up the multiple meters on that one move. Because it's a quick, fast charging move. So you may find that this is ideal for you. Someone coming from a very, very storied history of playing literally every Pokemon game that's come out, I find it really takes away from it. I find the other insulting bit that to complete the game, like to get the shiny charm, so you can start shiny hunting properly, you need to have an online subscription.
Ooh.
To be able to trade, evolve, Kadabra, Machamp, Gengar, all of that. So in order to 100% the game, you will ideally need an online subscription, which I really fucking hate. But at the same time, with the difference between it and Arceus, I feel like they've tried to make it like the anime, because in the anime they just spam moves.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily turn-based, so they can respond to another character's move by like using double team, and the move will whiff, basically, and they'll miss the attack sort of thing. So I feel like they've gone in that direction with it. But with that, they've also introduced, like, so the whole point of the game is that you start at level Z and you work your way up to A grade. So there's 26 levels. They've done the same with the online play, and the only way you can unlock Mega, Chestnut, Greninja, and Delphox is by playing online.
Oh, see, I hate that. Because not everyone wants to play online against other people. I know I certainly don't.
But all you get is the Mega Gem.
Mm.
So you get like Greninjaite or Delphoxite. You need to get to rank F
To get them.
You get 20 points for coming first. They're all 4-player battles, so it's you and 3 other people. You get 20 points for coming first, 10 points for coming second, minus 10 points for coming third, and minus 20 points for coming fourth. So you can go down levels. And it's like, how do you... Let's be fair, anything that involves online play is like a lightning rod for shitheads.
Yeah.
And for people that just cheat the game, max level their Pokemon within the first day, and sit there kicking the shit out of kids who just want to go on online play and have a couple of fun games. And they just farm. So playing the online bit has no appeal for me at all, which means I am going to miss out on 3 of the Megas. And it's just like, why?
If there was a place in the game where you could go and play it against the computer players, the same thing, and you had to grind through it, fine. But like you say, I don't want to play against people whose literal life is sitting and doing that game, because there will be those people.
Yep.
And we've probably, 4 or 5 days in, already missed our chance to be good enough to beat these people. And that's it. As soon as you get put in a lobby with at least 1, maybe 2 of them, you're going to be losing points. You're going to go down. It's going to be a right grind to get up to... I mean, I don't know how many points you need per level, but it sounds it's probably not going to be a small amount, is it? So you're going to be absolutely grinding that and just hoping you get put against somebody worse than you. There's, like you say, there's no tactic to it, really. It is whoever's just got the best Pokemon and can spam the moves.
So I've just put into Google, all the Pokemon levels when you go in are set to level 50.
Okay.
But there will be people in there that want to play with a Pikachu, and there will be people in there with a team of nothing but legendaries.
Yeah.
And the first thing that comes up is a Reddit that says, why do my Pokemon keep getting one shot in ZA Online? And it's like, and it's that kind of thing. I
Yeah.
don't want to play something that doesn't have any skill, and it's
Yeah.
just full of people that have nothing better to do than play this religiously and learn ways to cheat the system.
Yeah.
And this move is overpowered and it means that I can recharge in seconds, so I just one-shot something, and then they send the next one, and I one-shot that one as well. I've just got no interest in it at all.
This is why I don't play many games online. Not so much the no skill bit. Like, I don't play FIFA online because I know most people on there are better than me, and I like to enjoy it. I don't want to be playing a game to the point of I want to smash the shit out of my controller because somebody's just battered me 8-0 because I'm just not as good as them, because I play it maybe an hour a day, if that, and they literally spend all their lives on it and have done since they were like 2. I just can't do it. Same for Call of Duty, same for all those. I like playing games online when I'm playing with people I know. If you and me were playing it, if we could set up private lobbies and it was just us playing it, yeah, fair enough, I'd quite happily do that. But I don't want to get put against little Jimmy, he's changed his console region to Australia, so he got it a day early, and he's literally played it 24 hours since he got it. And now he knows all the best Pokemon to have, all the best one-shot moves, and anyone that gets put in his lobby is just going to get wiped out immediately. It's just not fun for anyone, apart from him. And even then I'd question how much fun it is. Yeah, I won't be doing that. But then I'm not that bothered about 100% in it.
No.
Do you need those megas to get the shiny charm?
No, they're sort of additional. They aren't part of the base game, really. So the evolutions
Greninja
are
to lock away as well when
it's
everyone loves Greninja.
Yeah, it's so bad. Plus, they're new megas, so they are new to ZA. They haven't been in any other games that involved Mega Evolution, so again, it's so tight. If you're gonna do it, Garchomp, whatever, Lucario, Gardevoir, any of those, whatever, yeah, do you know what? I played through games that had those in them. I'm not that bothered, I can live without them.
Or like memey ones, like Miltank Ditto. Just put those ones there for people who really want to grind for it, but it's not a benefit to have them. But like Greninja, how many people want Greninja as a mega, and you're just not going to be able to get it without doing something stupid? It's tight, and you know why they've done it, so that people buy the online thing.
Yeah.
And go that way. And then I know we're running long now, but haven't they hacked part of it out and are selling it back to you as DLC as well? Like day one DLC?
Yeah, so before the game even released, they announced Mega Dimension, which was the DLC. And it's the first thing they announced about it is, Raichu's got 2 megas.
Yeah.
And it's like, so that was part of the base game that you just went, nah.
Is it like end game content, or if you buy it, can you just do it at any point?
No, they have said that you need to finish the base game before you can do the expansion pass. So it was post game. About.
Yeah. And then they just went, right, we can charge 25 quid for this. I mean, not even like a tenner.
Yeah.
Half the game's cost, almost, for an expansion that is post-game stuff. It's just Nintendo. Every year I get more and more disillusioned with what Nintendo are doing. They used to be the family-friendly company, didn't they, that did things for the fans, and now it just, I don't know, everything seems to be more and more about milking money out of people.
Well,
That's the true horror of Halloween for us, is that Nintendo, our beloved franchise, our beloved company as we were kids, is just gradually being turned into some sort of demonic, money-grabbing company. And it's sad.
Especially when you think, like, Palworld. So, Nintendo got their little lawsuit hat on not that long ago and decided to sue Palworld because it was ripping off Pokemon Legends Arceus because of, like, the percentage catch rate shown when you were going to throw a capture ball at a Palmon. Thing, which is sort of similar, and it's like, but Nintendo, you haven't patented that.
Yeah.
And they sued them for $60,000. That was it. You know, it's like, you're a company worth billions, literally with a B, probably borderline with a T, trillions. And it's like, you're suing a little company because you are so scared that they're releasing something that's more relevant and more fresh than the shite you've been churning out for the last 30 years. And you're suing them for $60,000. That's it.
And they've doubled down on it, haven't they? So again, we really need to end this. But they've filed patents for any mechanics, including a specific system for summoning sub-characters to auto-battle for you. And it's like,
So
how can you
most
patent
RPGs
that?
then?
Yeah. Like, how can you patent that when you didn't even do it first?
World of Warcraft probably wants a word with you.
Yeah. So that'll be an interesting one to see how that pans out. There must be something super specific in there that means they can do it, but only if it's this way or something. Because you can't. That's like going, oh, we want to patent loading screens because our games all have loading screens, so you best not have them anymore. Best come up with a way to not have a loading screen now. Which I've picked that as a bad example because there's only really Nintendo consoles have loading screens because they're woefully underpowered compared to all the other ones. But
yeah, you're not allowed to create any console with a shitty gimmick that we try and crowbar into every single third-party game, regardless of whether it's relevant or not. Oh, PlayStation, you know the little trackpad thing that you've got? Yeah, you're going to have to stop doing that because it's basically like a nunchuck. So you're not allowed to do that anymore.
What's that Xbox? You want to put out a really, really underpowered, terrible resolution tablet with controls on the side of it that will never get used properly? Nope, sorry. Oh, and what's that? The battery life's only 30 minutes on it. Yep. We've got that one covered, I'm afraid. Oh dear. Right, let's call this because we've been going far too long. It has been a horror. Let's have another ghost. There you go. It's still sort of Halloween themed, even though most of it hasn't been. But what we will do is say thank you to our spooky Patreons. So in the couple of coins here, we've got Harry Flynn, which did stem from a horror game, Silent Hill for the Room, that name. So we're keeping it's all intertwined. It's all coming in. In the Bucket Kickers tier, we have got the Doctor 1812, Zombev, Ric Flair, and Doshez. And in the Avatarnish tier, we've got Aaron, and we have got the Sweaty Llama. So thank you to you guys. If you want to back us on Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/bucketlistgamers. We do have content recorded to go on there. We've got loads more blueprints. We've got a special AMA episode we did that I just haven't had a chance to edit yet. I'm hoping to get a few days off soon and just start smashing through stuff and getting it all going out. So there'll be lots more stuff. A little plug for our YouTube channel at Bucket List Gamers. We're doing loads more over there, and we have now spun off a channel at BLG TCGs, which is where we'll put all our pack rip stuff going forward, because he was getting a bit messy on the main channel when it was like 50% video games, 50% pack rips and stuff. So we've moved them onto a nice new channel for you. The first video that went on there was me and Jordan opening what might be the worst ever trading card game to exist, called Gilera, which was an experience and about an hour long. So if you've got an hour to kill and want to see just how bad that was, I mean, we paid $10 for the booster box and I still felt a little bit ripped off by the end of it. Just to give you an indication of how it went. And some people are still selling that box for 75 quid online.
Jesus.
PSA, if you're looking for Gilera boxes, don't pay 75 quid for it, please God. Go to @BLGTCGs and have a look on there at what you might get. But unless you've got anything else to raise, Eddie,
no,
I will say that's goodbye from me.
And that's goodbye from me.
And that's goodbye from Scary Ghost, who I feel like we did name at some point, but I've completely forgot. So we'll go with Scary Ghost, and until the next one, we'll see you later.